Hi, I'm Michelle from Birth Beginnings, and today I want to talk to you about the birth pool in a box and everything that's included in your rental. So here you see the gray tote that the pool comes in. Inside that tote will be a single-use liner, a heat retention cover, a lead-free drinking hose, some blue pads to put down to protect your floor, a little debris net in case there's anything floating in the water you'd rather not have there, some tap adapters, two different styles of tap adapters so we can fit the drinking hose to whatever water source we're going to draw from, a little thermometer, and then also an inflating pump and a submersible pump for draining. So some people are curious, when is the right time to set up the pool? And typically what I recommend is once your contractions or surges start coming regularly and they're not seeming to stop, is when you're gonna start to set the pool up. So we're gonna start by first inflating the sides. So you'll grab your air pump and we're gonna start with the smallest of the two adapters, placing that on. And with that, we're gonna fill the floor and the seat. Then we're gonna switch over to our wider adapter and we're gonna fill each of the three rings, starting from the bottom, going all the way up to the top. Now, what I find when we're then dropping in the liner, what is really helpful is to only partially fill the top ring. Because this liner is a firm fit, if you inflate that top ring all the way, you'll actually be really stretching the liner to get it on top of the different handles and things. So only partially inflate that top ring, drop the liner in. The liner is so simple. It has very clear instructions on face this end out, put this end away from the seat. So really simple there. Once that liner is installed, then we fully inflate that top ring and you are good to go. Now know that if the birther is having a hard time climbing in and out of the tub because it's a little tall, then what we can do is release some of the air from that middle ring, which will then allow us to adjust the height. Even with that partially inflated, the sides of the pool will support 300 pounds of weight. So that's really handy. So people could sit on it, they can lean on it with no problem. So everything really self-explanatory and easy to manage. So now that I have this pool inflated, before I pop the cover in, I just wanted to show you some of the features of the pool. So as I mentioned, there's a little blue seat inside it. So this is really handy to rest your bum on, get into a semi-reclined position. It can get us into a supported squat position. We can also place our feet or a knee on it so we can get some good asymmetry for opening up the middle of the pelvis. There is also a cup holder over here to hold some beverages. And then you also have 6 handles. So there's 2 on the top, 2 on the one end, and 2 on the other end of the pool. So these are really convenient for grabbing onto, holding, or looping something in so you could get a good pulling motion. Also, the bottom of the pool is inflated, so there's some good padding if you're in any kneeling positions. So it took me exactly 6 minutes to inflate the pool all together. Now it's time to start filling it. So what I recommend is, if things are kind of still taking their time, the birther's not ready to get into the pool right away, then what you can do is start filling the pool halfway to the min line with water that's too hot to get in. Now, when we start filling it, before you start putting any water in, make sure it's in the exact spot you want. Because once that water starts to come in, you're not going to be able to shift it. Okay? We'll fill it halfway to the min line. By only filling to the min line, that gives us option of later on, if we want to add more water, we can always do that without having to drain any water out. But if that birther is ready to get in right away, then just start filling it with as comfortable water as possible for them to get in. So you're gonna grab your hose and your tap adapters. So we will take the tap adapters over to the sink or the shower where you're planning on getting your water source from and attaching that to the faucet. Then from there, we're gonna attach the yellow end of the drinking hose to that, Okay. Then you're going to come to the edge of the pool, and there is a lovely little sleeve that says insert hose here. So I can feed the silver end of the hose through here so that it's nice and secure. So when you do turn on the water, it's not going to get away from you and totally soak everything. Okay, so that tends to work really nicely. Now, if the birther isn't ready to get in right away, then what we can do is pop that heat retention cover on the top. And when we do that, you're only going to lose about 1 degree an hour. So it works really, really beautiful for that. Now, the filling time really ranges depending on the size of your hot water tank and also the amount of water pressure that you get. Most people find it might take kind of 1 to 2 hours to fill. When it's time to empty the pool, what we're gonna do is have a quick look, see if there's anything floating around. Maybe it's a little piece of amniotic sac that looks clear but might cover the intake valve. We want to scoop that up with our debris net, and then we're going to get our submersible pump. So we are going to now attach that yellow end to the submersible pump. And then we're going to secure that other end, the silver end, either into a toilet, into the tub, into the shower, into the sink, and make sure it's where you want it to be and that the submersible pump is in the pool before we plug it in. Because this pump doesn't have an on-off switch, the second you plug it in, it's going to start drawing water and taking it to wherever the other end of the hose is. So it's just going to work its magic for a little while. It's going to drain that pool really beautifully. If you're seeing that it's struggling, again, have a look at the intake valve, see if there's anything that's covering it. Eventually, it will get to the point where it's not quite drawing water as effectively as it was before. So then what we want to do is grab that liner, and then you're going to bring it towards you, creating a bigger pocket of water for that to draw from. So oftentimes, babies are cute. I don't want to stand here holding it for 10 to 15 minutes. So I take the handles that were looped on the other end and then just secure them on this end of the pool so that I can still spend time doing what's important. Then eventually it will again start to struggle, and then we're just going to grab those ends, continuing to make bigger pockets and holding until the pump just isn't draining effectively anymore. Then I'm going to go unplug the pump, and I'm going to take these ends now and I'm going to twist them up like I would a bread bag. Twisting them up nice and tight with that submersible pump inside, and then lifting that up and out of the pool. And then I can take that either to the tub, the shower, maybe I take it outside and allow the rest of the water to drain out from there. I then want to take the submersible pump and just leave it out either in the kitchen sink or something else where it can completely air dry. Okay. Then I want to do a visual inspection of the pool. Is there any fluid that leaked, dripped, whatever? And if there is, then I'm just going to take, if it's maybe some body fluid that dripped on as the birther was stepping out of the pool, I'm just going to take a wet cloth and I'm going to wipe it down. Don't worry about sterilizing it. I will take care of that piece, but we want to make sure that it gets wiped down and that everything is completely dry before we pack it up, because if not, then there can be some staining on the pool. Okay, so have a look for that. Now, things that are disposable would be the liner, the cover, if you've used both of them, and the hose. Even if you've only run clean water through the hose, that can't be returned. That's yours to keep. Everything else is going to come back into the tote. So I hope you found that video really helpful. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.